everyone, welcome to another day of Vlogtober. Using a segment that I had developed about a year and a half ago. This is maybe even 2 years ago. This is something I've always wanted to do. I've never done it, but I really liked the idea of it. So, are you ready? I am going to call this Spoiler Alert Saturdays. I think that's what I'm gonna go with. This is for any book, movie, video game, anything that I play or watch or enjoy, and I think that it gets a lot of hype, or it should get a lot of hype, and you guys are wondering, I wonder what that's like. So I'm going to give an overall review like you would see out of a magazine or a journal or article, something like that, and then halfway through the video, I'm going to announce spoiler alert. Well, I'll go into more specifics, and I will be giving away some spoilers about the plot, the game, talk about what I liked and didn't like. So if you had played it too, we can all kind of talk about it together. You can kind of see what I enjoyed. Or if you just decide you don't want to play it or watch it, you can kind of see more in-depth review of whatever it is you are watching. So for my first spoiler alert, it is, I'm sure, what you all have guessed, Yokai Watch 2. And you know, I had to whip out my Yokai Watch for this. Well, there you have it. But as you all know, I am Yokai Watch trash, so of course, I enjoyed this game a lot. But I've had so many people ask me about this game, so I thought this would be a great one to make my first spoiler alert about. So, I have developed a rubric of grading criteria for games that I just think is perfect. I put a lot of time into this. Let's begin. So if I had to rate the difficulty on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give this game about a 3. The two twins that are in this game, which I will go into, and then the very final boss were so hard, it took me a while. But aside from that, I think it wasn't too hard, and it may be because I'm just so used to the battling system. When I played the first Yokai Watch, I had a little bit more trouble just because I had to adjust to the way that you battle within the game. You have your 6 yokai on a dial, and you rotate the dial to kind of pick and choose who you want in battle. So if one of them passes out, they still stay within your dial, but you can turn it to other yokai to use in your battle. So it's kind of different, but I love that. And at first I was very unsure about it, but I do really like it. So I would rate the difficulty maybe like a 3. Some of it's really hard, others are really easy. For me personally, I don't think it's that hard of a game. It's for kids mostly, so I would say the type of game is kind of like RPG adventure battle system. As this one has more of a story than like Pokemon. I have so many people ask me if this game's like Pokemon. It has more of a story than Pokemon. The battling system's different. The way you befriend yokai is different. It just has a much more in-depth story. So I'd say it is slightly like an RPG, and they just added a sort of online feature in the second one to where you can trade and battle with your friends. The plot of the game, so in the first one, you get your Yokai Watch, and you're able to befriend yokai, and you have to save Earth from the evil yokai that are within the yokai world that are trying to take over Earth because they think that humans are plotting against them and blah, blah, blah. So you have to save Earth and make yokai peaceful with you. So within the second game, it opens up that you get your Yokai Watch stolen. You kind of don't remember anything about yokai for a little while, and then suddenly you start to remember more and more. You get your Yokai Watch back through like a little shop, and then you do another Crank-a-kai, Whisper comes out. He is your yokai butler that kind of tells you what to do in the game. And then the story kind of continues where it left off before, and then you notice, oh, there are wicked yokai trying to inspirit people. So yokai are almost like ghosts, and they inspirit people. They each have their own little power that they do, and some are good, some are bad. And so the whole point in this game is you are befriending your yokai that you can find to battle the evil ones. And the whole way this started is the wicked yokai split up the yokai by making them fight with one another. There are the fleshy souls and bony spirits. They are kind of segregated yokai. So throughout the game, you are trying to get them to merge back together because they were at peace, but the wicked yokai back in the past, 60 years prior, started battling and making it so there was lots of conflict. So the whole point of the game is to get your yokai watch back, battle all the wicked yokai, and stop Madam Dead Time, I believe her name is, from corrupting the world and ensnaring all of humans and taking control of the human race. The main characters in this game that I would say are the protagonists are obviously you, which in this case would be Nate. You get to name him whatever, but Nate. There is a girl version, but anyway. So there's Nate. He is the absolute protagonist. He's the one with the yokai watch. He's the one that can sense everything. The other person that is a protagonist would be Whisper. He is your butler, he helps you. And Jibanyan, who is one of the first yokai you befriend, he becomes your companion and helps you along as well. And he's the cute cat yokai right here that I'm obsessed with. A little bit later, you meet Hovernyan, who recruits you to go back in time and help the divide. And then your grandfather, who you end up meeting, whose name is Nathaniel. He's Kenny if you play as the girl. And they're all basically trying to fight the yokai. And the grandfather is actually the one who developed the yokai watch and was one of the first people to really see yokai, befriend yokai, blah, blah, blah. The antagonists are, as I said, the two twins. They are sisters within the game. I don't remember their name, but they're really old and creepy, and they can manipulate time, and they are awful, and I hate them. And then they are serving under Madam Dead Time, I believe is her name. Madam Dead Time is like the ultimate antagonist that you are battling throughout the game. So I would say my favorite character in this game is, of course, Jibanyan. And he has such a sad story of his owner, Amy. It ends up not being that sad, but in this game, you don't know that until you see more of his backstory. But he gets hit by a car, his owner calls him lame, her name's Amy, and then he becomes a yokai, and his whole mission in life is to conquer the cars on the same intersection that he got hit. So sad. So Jibanyan is definitely my favorite character. And I'd say my least favorite would be those stupid twins. They were so annoying. I didn't like their little cackle. They got on my nerves. Yeah, so I would say they're my least favorite. Is there anyone that you liked or disliked that you ended up changing your mind about in the game, towards the end of the game? The only person I can think of is the grandfather, Nathaniel, because at first he's like, no, I don't have friends. None of my friends exist. I am by myself. I don't need anyone's help. And you feel bad for Hovernyan, who's trying to get you to help your grandfather. But by the end, he realizes that he can befriend yokai. He doesn't have to lose all of his battles, and then everything's fine. So I'd say he's the only one that I was like, I don't hate him anymore. How long did it take you to complete it? Okay, so here's the thing about Yokai Watch, and the first one was much like this. The way it is there's a main story, but there's lots of side quests. So I say the main storyline took me about 20 to 25 hours, something like that. I thought it was pretty quick to play. But then there's the Inferno afterwards. There's a bunch of different missions within the yokai realm. There's lots of quests in general. And then there's all the other yokai you can catch. For instance, I'm one of the people that like to collect all of them. And it's much harder to befriend yokai in this game. You have to battle them. And it's not like you throw a Pokeball. So you battle and you give them their favorite food, and there's different things that you can do to increase your chances to befriend, but they don't always approach you to befriend you. So it's really tricky and it's hard, but that's like kind of my addiction, is finding all the legendary yokai, befriending them, and just filling up my medallion book. Now it's time for some ratings. I would give the story a 4, just because it's not a super in-depth story, but I like the story a lot. And again, it's mostly geared towards like children, but I still really enjoy it. So I think the story is very cliche, very happy, but I do like it. So I'm a little biased. I would give it a 4. The characters within the game, I would probably give like a 4 as well. I love the characters, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to think of this from other people's standpoints. Though the characters are really great, some of them are super ridiculous. Like for example, there is a yokai that looks like a butt, and his name is Cut and Cheese, and he spews gas. And I mean, okay, what? And there's just so many different yokai like that. Like there's this one named Helmsman, and he's literally the helmet, and his body runs around separately. I don't know. They all are just so strange. There's a guy that goes like this who's legendary, and his name is So Sorry. And I don't know, like their names are super ridiculous. I like the characters, but their names are ridiculous. The art and style, I give this like a 5. And not because the art style is incredibly unique or whatever. It's very anime-ish and adorable, but I love the cats. I love the cat yokai, and I just really like the yokai in general. They're really fun. They have so many cute ones. I have to give that a 5. And again, I'm sure many people would give that like a 3 or a 4, but I'm a little biased. This is one of my favorite games on the planet. Creativity, I'd give this like a 3 or a 4. 3 because so many people do think it's a lot like Pokemon, but 4 because I know it isn't, and the medals are a really cool concept, and it does have more of a story than that. So I would give it like a 4. Production quality, I would give it like a 4. I feel like they could add a lot more to make the game longer, personally, but I think for what they do have, the game is really fun, the story is really awesome, and there's a lot to do after you beat the main storyline. So it's not like you beat the game and then it's over. You can't continue to level up. You can't continue to find things. There's no more story. Like they do add a whole lot to this game. Like there's so much that you can do in the game, and it doesn't just end after you beat the main story. So yeah, sure, the main story is pretty short. I guess it could just drag on too long, but I don't know, I would probably give that a 4. So overall, again, I just want to give it a 5 because I'm so biased and I love this game. But I'd say on average, based on all my other criteria, I would give it a 4. There's some things that they could improve, but overall, I love it. So I'd give it a 4. This game is so much fun. Spoiler alert! You're in the spoiler alert segment of this video. Time to get into the specifics. I'd say the only huge thing that I think about any of the characters are that it is incredibly annoying when you are fighting the stupid twins and they each have their own health meter. It's kind of a boss battle. They each have their own stupid health meter. There's nothing specific that you target about them. You just keep hitting them. It's not like a lot of the other battles where they have one specific spot that you have to put your little pin in so all your yokai attack, and then that makes it vulnerable and then you can continue to attack it. No, you can just attack them and that's no big deal. But if one of their health meters runs out, then the other twin brings up their clock, it spins, and then it brings back to life the other twin. That annoys me so much, and I caught on to that very quickly. I mean, like, their health meter doesn't completely fill up, and it kind of gets a little less and less every time, but still, it takes so much time, because then you have to time it perfectly so that the health meter bars go down to a very little bit in each one, and then you have to use a soultimate move, which is like your big ultimate, like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's like your ultimate move. So you have to use that to kill them all at once. But that's so hard to do because your yokai that are also on your team that are out, they still attack while you're charging up your soultimate move. So yeah, their health meter can be down pretty far, and then one of your yokai attacks one, and then it dies, and then it recharges, and it waits until it's done recharging and bringing the twins to life before you can do your soultimate, and then by that point, it's worthless. That really frustrated me about the character stuff, but I mean, it is a boss battle. Why would it be easy? And also, the Dame Dead Time got on my nerves, because then she goes into, I don't remember her last name. She transforms at the very end. I don't remember what her name turns into. But she basically, you beat her as a boss, and then she evolves into this bigger and badder boss. And it took me forever to beat that, because you want to use her soultimate moves, you can't, because she absorbs them, and then she does this massive one. And I didn't really have any sort of like healing yokai equipped at the time, and it stinks because you can't go out and catch any. You have to do this boss battle. So I couldn't get any yokai to help me, so I was stuck and trapped, and she takes away your ability to use items. She takes away your ability to purify yourself, because when you get inspirited, it makes your little yokai sulk for a little while, and they can't really attack or anything. And that really stinks, because it also lowers their defense. Mine just kept dying off, and it just took me forever to kind of get the swing of how she attacks. Like, she's so powerful, and my yokai were just so under-leveled and not healing themselves, and I couldn't use items fast enough. So that one took me so long because I couldn't use soul ultimate moves or anything. My favorite scene, I really liked, let me think, because I really liked getting to see more of Jibanyan's story. He kind of gets taken away at one point by the twins and puts into this realm that is supposed to be like when he was a house cat, and you can kind of see how he interacts with Amy. I think they actually go back in time to let him choose his fate. He goes out into the street and gets hit by a car because he saves Amy. So he gets to choose for like a second, time. Would you rather save her or be alive and not be a yokai? Well, he chooses to save her again, and then he gets to see that Amy didn't actually hate him and call him a lame cat. She actually was like, oh my gosh, you died. That's so lame. Oh no, my cat's dead. Like, how could this have happened? So he hears it the way it's supposed to be and not the way he remembers before he turns into a yokai. And I think that's so sweet because Jibanyan's my favorite and I felt so bad for him. Do you ship anyone or have any sort of OTP? No, not in this game. This is not the right game for that. Plot holes. I don't really think there were any plot holes in this game that I can think of. Successes and failures. I think their successes really outweighed failures. I actually can't think of any failures. Some of their successes would be the improvements that they made within this game that weren't like the other game, the first one. For instance, you now have, like, what do they call it? Sorcery, where you can make orbs out of different yokai that you catch, and you can attach them to your yokai, and it makes them have different abilities, makes them stronger, and I like that. There's like a orb that you can use to increase your popularity, which helps you befriend yokai a lot easier. In addition, I love that you can battle with your friends now. You can trade yokai with your friends. They actually added more worlds into the game, so you can go on a train to all kinds of different towns and cities, and there's lots more to see, and there's lots of just stuff to do in general. And I love that they added so many more cat yokai that are legendary that you can go and get later. I feel like they really did step it up with the stuff that you can do within the game, because I was kind of curious to see what they would do to make it significantly better than the last one, but they did a lot. There was a lot that they added that really made it a very successful game, and I liked it more than the first one because there was just so much more to do. One other thing that I liked is there's the Crank-a-kai that you can put coins in that you find throughout the game. Every day, you get a different number of times you can put coins in, crank the Crank-a-kai, and then yokai or items can come out. They changed it so instead of it being 3 times every single day like in the first one day you can have 3 cranks, the next day you can have 7, the next you can have 10, the next you can have 5. And I love that. I like that it kind of varies and you can use a bunch of different coins on different days depending on what day it is. I love that because I have so many yokai medallions from collecting them that you can scan into the game through their QR code. So it's nice to be able to, I don't know, have a bunch of coins and get to use them every day. I love that. Was I happy with the ending? Yes. I mean, it's a happy children ending. Of course I'm happy with it. You win, everything's great. I mean, it's not like a super in-depth ending or anything. I mean, it's just like it keeps going. The storyline doesn't necessarily stop. It just keeps going. What surprised you the most? Can't really think of anything. Again, this isn't like a story. Like, yes, it has a story, but it's not one where it's like, ooh, plot twist. Whoa, this character died and I'm so shocked. So I don't think there's anything like that. And lastly, was there a part that you thought was the funniest or the saddest? Again, this isn't one that has lots of cut scenes or anything that's super emotionally, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you don't get too emotionally invested in this game, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So there's not anything that's super funny or super exciting or super sad. It just kind of happens. Like, you just save the yokai and you save the planet, Earth. So, I don't know, there wasn't really anything super dramatic. I think that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler alert Saturday. I really do want to do this again in the future. I really look forward to doing it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please leave some comments telling me what you think about this idea. Did you play Yokai Watch 2? Do you want to? Did the sell you on it? Do you rate it higher or lower? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye, guys! I am addicted to Yokai Watch.